Welcome to this video, and on this video we are going to be going through the 10 most arrogant musicians, songwriters, pop stars, whatever you want to call them, rock stars, the most arrogant ones in human history. Now, of course, I have no way of measuring this, right? So the way I've done it is with a very subjective approach, is that I've gone out there looking for quotes by so-and-so, quotes by so. I've been gathering these quotes. And when I come across a quote that's quite arrogant, I put it in there representing that person. And then once I got them, I organised these quotes until I came up with the 10 that I thought were the most arrogant. And then I ordered them in terms of arrogance. And these are arrogant in all sorts of different ways, right? And so that's how we're going to do it. And that means I've got a video here where not only I can rant about how arrogant these musicians are, but I have no idea what they're like as people anyway. But the other thing I can do is I can read out their quote, and then you can be the judge and you can go, well, that's not that arrogant, Andy. Why did you think it was arrogant? And I hopefully will explain to you why I thought it was arrogant. Or you may go, oh my God, they didn't say that. I liked them up until this point, but now I don't like them. And if I can get you not to like certain artists that I don't like, then I will have won and you will have lost. So shall we start at number 10? Now, at number 10, I have the bland, cheekboned, pretty boy blues guitarist known as John Mayer. Now, I wasn't going to put him on the list. I have been motivated today by the fact that somebody's come on here and they've gone, why have you picked on John Mayer? He's a great guitarist. Sad middle-aged men who play the guitar and don't want to deal or don't have the understanding to understand what jazz guitarists can do, don't have the technical ability to play fast like heavy metal guitarists, they recourse to blues guitarists because they fool themselves into thinking bending a few notes is hard, right? It's not hard. Anybody can play electric blues guitar. John Mayer can, and he's good at it, right? He is good at it, along with millions of other people, right? But he's white and he's pretty. And a few years ago, after Stevie Ray Vaughan came out, there was a spate. It was started by Johnny Lang. And since then, there's been a spate of white boy blues guitarists. And they're liked by middle-aged men. It's very strange. Now, John Mayer has got older as time has gone on. But when he was younger, he's like one of these establishment figures. He's always cropping up. I never know quite why he's so successful. I never know why he's playing to stadiums, right? I just don't get it. Especially when he said this. This is the quote. Now, this has got it's got what I would consider a swear word. And I don't like swearing on my channel, but I'm going to have to do that. I'm going to have to. It's all right. I've got a call coming in. Now, it's not John Mayer. Don't worry. I'm going to have to say the swear word. It's a word for the male appendage. I'm just getting you ready for it in case you've got kids you want to cover up their ears. So this is what he said. John Mayer said this apparently. My dick is sort of like a white supremacist. I only date white women. Right? The only way to describe that is cringe-level arrogance mixed with juvenile narcissism. That's not mine. That's a quote from somebody about this quote. Now, one of the things that no one seems to put together that I will now put together is he did a tune called Porcelain. And Porcelain is like this horrible sex song about him having sex with this woman. It's no love in it. He's just talking about doing it. I don't want him to talk. Why is he like this for? A nice young boy, is his mom listening to this stuff? And the reason it's called Porcelain, because it's celebrating the white skin of the lady that is being pleasured by Mr. John Mayer. Your skin like porcelain. One pair of candy lips and your bubblegum tongue. Disgusting. And when you put all that together, I find that quite distasteful, don't you? Now, if you are one of those middle-aged men, if you are one of those who, doesn't want to deal with playing the guitar properly, so you put your John Mayer album on and you can sit there listening to him bend the strings a little bit and think that's hard. Maybe my protestations against him have upset you. But do you know you're supporting a white supremacist? Now, he's not a white supremacist in everything else, obviously. He obviously gets on with other people that aren't white. I mean, he's got people who aren't white in his band, of course he has. He's got to get some sort of level of groove and funk and soul in there. And he does that by getting one of the greatest drummers out there, Steve Jordan, who's now got the gig with bloody Rolling Stones. When I was a kid, I used to listen to him with John Scofield and Steve Carney, and now he just sits there playing a fat groove on holiday. He's old Steve. He's on holiday. But they all love him, don't they? Same time, Steve Jordan, what a groove. Yeah, they've all got a groove. Anyone could do it. Omar Hakim could do it as well, if he wanted. All the jazz guys had a groove like that. John Mayer, yeah. And that comment is horrible, don't you think? So are we up and going? Do you understand where this video's going? Right, this next one I have seen live. She is a singer called Courtney Love. Now, Courtney Love got famous for being Kurt Cobain's girlfriend. And when he died, she sort of carried on. She had a band, it was her band called Hole, which is, for a girl-fronted band, I find a bit distasteful as well. They always have to be distasteful, these types. We don't need this sort of thing. Disgusting! Anyway, Courtney Love has called herself the only real woman in rock. Right? That's not the quote. But she's gone around regularly. This woman who wouldn't have been famous if she hadn't gone out with Kurt Cobain. And then after he died, because of the reflected glory, her sort of sub-okay mediocre post-punk band that never had a decent song like Nirvana had, was able to tour. And I saw them in 1993. I can't remember them, but I know I saw them. And I saw them live, so I've given them the benefit of the doubt. They weren't very good. She also actually went on to act in films. She was in that Larry Flint film, wasn't she, old Courtney Love? And I just find her very distasteful. God knows why she's there, but she's there, isn't she? But she's there. She's got a career. Let's leave her to it. She's got a band. Some people obviously like her. But she said this. This is the actual quote. "I am the greatest female rock star ever. Hands down. Miss Love, I want to let you know about a little British rock star that we happen to have here called Suzi Quatro. Now go and check her out and then pipe down and shut your cake hole. That's what your band should have been called, cake hole. And then shut your, in brackets after it. Suzi Quatro. Suzi Quatro could out-rock you with her little finger. Right, there she was, a bundle of rock and roll energy, leather catsuit, great big electric bass. She could rock. Now, do you want me to go through all the other people that could rock more than you? I mean, Tina Turner. Tina Turner's a soul singer. But when she turns to the rock, she can out-rock you. Tina can. Tina can out-rock Courtney Love. Am I right or am I wrong? Lita Ford. What about Lita Ford? There's a whole host of them. Come on, keep her. There's loads of female rock and roll stars. I mean, what about the Slits? Right? What about the Runaways? What about Girl School? Right? There's a whole bunch of people like that could rock. What about Joan Jett? Oh, she was in the Runaways, wasn't she? What about what's her name? Come on, Andy, there's loads of these. And mate, I mean, what about the Wilson sisters in Heart? I mean, it just goes on and on. Come on. Keep going, thinking of women rock stars. Come on, how many can we get? Can you put some in the comments? Let's get a big list I'll do a whole video on this if you need it. I will do a video. I don't like drawing people together just based upon these identity categories. I hate identity politics. But I'm willing to do it just to prove Courtney Love wrong. I will do a video called 10 female rock stars that are greater than Courtney Love. I'll do a video like that. Who else would be on the list? This is how my videos start. This is how the genesis of them starts. And I've got someone in my mind that I'm thinking, Blondie. I've got someone in my mind though that really is rock and roll. They properly are. Wendy O. Williams. Wendy O. Williams. I mean, she's more rock in every shape and way and form. I mean, she drove a car off a cliff, didn't she, and jumped out just before it drove away. I mean, Courtney Love's not going to do that, is she? Couldn't do that, save her life. Who else? I feel like there's someone else I'm missing. Really is a rock legend that's female. Oh, it'll come to me. I'll work on that one for you. So that's who I've got at number 9. Number 9, worse than John Mayer. I mean, he's just been a fool, isn't he? A little fool. But she is just so laying it on with arrogance there, and it's not deserved. Right? Above her, I have Ted Nugent. Now, Ted Nugent can rock, right? And I actually enjoy this comment of his. Most of it I enjoy, but it is questionable, right? So let's get into this. Ted Nugent, his quote is, "I'm the best there ever was. You're looking at a walking, talking middle finger." The second half's great. That is proper rock and roll. You're looking at a walking, talking middle finger. That's fine, all right? But the first bit, I'm the best there ever was. He's just not. He's not. That's the bottom line. He's good, right? The Amboy Dukes were good. That was a good band. Was that his band? A Journey to the Centre of the Earth? That's Ted Nugent, isn't it? That's almost like proto-American prog. So he's a pioneer. And then by the end of the 70s, he has got one of the most stinging, dirty rock and roll guitar sounds and some incredible riffs. And they're actually quite rare at that point. So I've got to give Nugent his due. But of course, as time has gone on, he has shown himself to be a hunting, meat-eating, sexist right-winger, hasn't he? Like the archetypal Trump supporter, haven't they? You know, that's what Nugent's become, isn't it? So half the world hate him now. Now, for me, the arrogance is in that first. And Nugent is he is arrogance, isn't he? That's what he is. And I think this is quite fair. I don't think he would argue with me. I think he'd go, yeah, you're right, Andy, I am. But he's not the best there ever was. Who's the best there ever was, ever? He hasn't even specified music. Who's the best person? Well, it's got to be Jesus, hasn't it? Or maybe Buddha, right? Now think about it. Think of putting people up. You've got Jesus. You've got Buddha. Then you have Ted Nugent. I mean, he's shown up straight away by these, you know, these best there ever was people, wasn't it? I mean, it's a stupid thing. Maybe he's just talking about music. Well, the best there ever was Louis Armstrong, as far as I'm concerned. There's no way he's as good as Louis. And maybe he's talking about rock music. Well, what about Hendrix? I mean, you can keep going. What about late 70s rock guitarist Eddie Van Halen? He's not the best there. All he is he's the best Ted Nugent we've ever had. And that, you take him or leave him. So that's who I've got at number 8 is Nugent. Right, another right winger that has spoilt it for all his fans because they obviously love him. Now they don't like him. He's Morrissey from the Smiths. Right? Now, I could have come out with all these right-wing, quotes he's come out recently where he doesn't like the immigrants and he doesn't want them coming in and changing Great Britain into their countries. He wants to keep his country as it is. He wants to retain all the nice English churches and nice parks and all that type of stuff because he likes English stuff. He doesn't like American stuff or other countries. Morrissey doesn't. And of course, nowadays, that's a really bad thing to want your country to stay like that. I think it's a bad thing. I agree. I'm not being contentious. I say that I think that us British, we should go to, say, Rome, and we should change all that to what we like here, Poundland shops, that type of thing, curry houses, kebab shops, all the sort of British things that we have here. I think we should take to Rome, flatten Rome, get rid of all those old concrete, they're all on ruins anyway. Start again, build it up with us British people out there doing that. I mean, the British people used to do that anyway all over the world, and then it was that seen as a bad thing. I don't understand it, to be honest. So that aspect of Morrissey, I don't want to get into. I do really. But I'm not going to get into it because, you know, Morrissey has got his opinions, you know, and it's not right. We should allow our country to be changed by anybody who wants to do it, you know, and that's the way it is. But this one, this is bloody gets on my nerves. Right. This is the quote. I see no difference between eating animals and paedophilia. Morrissey? Well, I can. Shall we move on? Right, at number 6, I've got, of course, very arrogant man, Axl Rose. Now, Axl Rose, lead singer of Guns N' Roses, is famous for turning up to his gigs late. Now, think about it. You buy a ticket to a gig. They're really, really expensive. You have to drive over there. You have to park in a great big car park and then walk for a long way. Have your things, be all felt up, go in, sit down. You're miles away from the thing. You know, these big gigs are a waste of bloody time anyway. And you sit there in your thing, drinking beer that's too expensive, and you sit there. You got your car on a machine. You've got to get home because it's a gig, so you've probably got to go to work the next morning. You've got kids at home, all that, that is what it is. So these bloody rock stars that are coming out with millions, they could at least turn up on time, couldn't they? Now, when they can't help it, fair enough, but Axl Rose, he doesn't give a toss. There's the arrogance. And because he routinely lets the audience wait for literally hours, he came out with this quote as a defense. I don't owe my fans anything. If they wait around for hours, that's their choice. Now, actually, he's completely wrong, because if you've bought a ticket to a show and it says 7:30, band on at 8 o'clock, that transaction literally is a transaction for services. So Axl owes the services. This is an out and out lie, right? It's that he owes you turning up on time. Now, you could ask for your money back because the contract on the ticket says this is the time. You know, so if they want to wait for hours, that's their choice. And that's what you should do if you go to see Axl Rose. Now, you may have noticed, when he played at the Black Sabbath gig, he turned up then on time. He was fine, wasn't he? He was fine then. You know why? He didn't want to let Ozzy down, right? That's why. But he should not want to let his fans down. Now, the thing with Guns N' Roses is, I have to say this, Appetite for Destruction is one of the greatest rock albums ever made. Every song on there is absolutely brilliant. It's almost like the perfect rock album for the 1980s. They kick all those hair metal bands right up the bum when they come out with it. It's a work of genius. Axl Rose has got a voice that is a bit like Marmite, but as a singer, technically, he's incredible, right? But after that, they're rubbish. They made one album in 1986, right? And now, well, 87 is roughly around then. I think it was 86, I don't know. Anyway, that's by the way. I saw them in 88 on the Monsters of Rock tour. And what did Axl do? Killed 2 people in the bloody audience by getting everyone to crush down the front. Well, it wasn't really his fault. He was sort of saying everybody move back. But that's all I remember. I don't remember being blown away by Sweet Child of Mine. I just remember thinking, oh my God, I'm glad I'm not down there. I was down there later on for Dave Lee Roth. I pushed myself down the front and risked death for that. I've done a whole video on it. Anyway, so I don't know where I was going with that. Yeah, I was basically saying he should not act so arrogant because they only did one great album and then they did some albums with some quite good tracks on and then that was it. And every time they get on stage now and play live now, I enjoy it and they're great. But Axl, he walks around, you're worried because you think he's going to cock up in some way. You just feel you're tense because he can't. You always think, is Axl going to deliver the goods? Prince. It's at number 5. Prince, right, is that creative genius type, isn't it? And Prince seems to be able to get away with murder. Although I don't think he actually got away with murder. So I'm not saying that about him. What I mean is, it is a phrase. You have to watch it nowadays when you say phrases. And he get on. I've lost my thread. Who are we talking about? Prince. Come on, Andy. This is a YouTube video. Come on. Let's get going. Prince. You know what it is? I like Prince. I love Prince. Didn't want to put him on the list. Right. I want to say, the truth is I want to say, well, of course he's arrogant. Because he was so bloody amazing. Prince was amazing. Incredible voice, right? He could act. He wrote a film, Purple Rain, a big blockbuster. He could dance. He could play all the instrument. He could write songs that were brilliant. He could give his songs to other people and then they'd have a hit record with it because his songwriting was brilliant. That's the proof of the pudding. He'd got everything, except he wasn't tall. That's the only thing he hadn't got. He was little. But even though he was little, he didn't let that stop him, did he? It didn't let him stop him. He still was known as being a Lothario, he's like a pocket Lothario, old Prince. He's got it all. Yeah, I mean, how can you criticise him? So what he's saying here on this quote, I have put it on the list because I was desperate for some quotes I can read out. But I agree with everything he says. Now, he says he hits it right on the nose with this quote. Prince once said, "I'm not arrogant, I'm just better than you." Now, if he said, "I'm not arrogant, I'm the best," right? Then we could accept that, arrogant though it may be. But what he does is he brings me into it, right? Now, I'm a big supporter of Prince, but I'm sat there thinking, well, is Prince better than me? I mean, you can put it in the comments. Who's the best out of me and Prince? I play all the instruments, don't I? I can dance. I've danced on my channel. I've done that as well. I've acted on my channel. I've done acted, little plays and comic routines. I can't sing as well as Prince, but he sings high up and anybody can sing high up, right? Look at the potato bloke out of Bronski Beat. What's he called? Jimmy Somerville. That one. Run away, run away, run away, run away, run away. I can do that. I can do that. You know, so when he comes out and he goes, I'm sure if I practiced it and I got my act together, I could do it. And I am normal height. You don't know how tall I am, but I'm actually 6 foot tall. Well, 5'11" and a half. Well, I have shrunk a little bit as I've got older, but now I've got this quiff thing going on here. Oh, that's putting me above 6 foot. That has, you know, it's like putting a mast on the top of the tallest building in the world. Just makes it that little bit taller. And Prince tried to do that by wearing lots of high heels, didn't he? And he often would have a quiff that would go up like this, way bigger than mine. And even then, with that, he's still. How tall was he? 4'10". That's how tall Prince was. 4'10". Now, what's the word you use for someone who's little? Because being old, I don't know which one is it's the equivalent of the N word for short people. Which one is it? Is it the D word or the M word? Which one is it? Because I get really confused here. So when I go towards talking about little people, I want to say they're a little bit. Now, the D word, that's like Snow White and the 7 Ds, right? Now, they didn't like that, did they, the little people? They did. Oh, this is terrible, Andy. Don't go near. But I'm not saying Prince. I mean, maybe technically it was. I mean, what is the range for being a D or an M? Which one's the right one? I feel like D's the right one. Little people. I mean, that's the worst of all. Little people. Who wants to be called a little person? Get your own name. That sounds like you're a mythical beast. A mythical character. That's what you want. Like the D word, I'm not going to say, even though it's in the title of a bloody famous Disney film that's just been bloody ruined. So I move on. At number 4, I've got, of course, Gene Simmons. He's even more arrogant than Prince, isn't he? Old Gene Simmons. I've got two quotes from him. He's really, number 4, really high on the list here. So the first quote I've got is this one. I am delusionally self-important. I have no self-esteem issues. I have no guilt. I like that, to be honest. I mean, I respect someone who is delusionally self-important, right? I can't help but when he says that there is a touch of self-mocking irony there with Gene Simmons. Gene Simmons is playing a game that's much more complex than we think, isn't he, old Gene? All right? Kiss are rubbish, aren't they? They are rubbish, okay? We all know they're rubbish. They're a rubbish rock band. They haven't got any good riffs. They haven't got any good songs. When you try and listen to their good songs, they're all rubbish, I Was Made for Loving You. I mean, that's a disco tune in it, really, And I Want to Rock All Night. What's that one called? Rock all night, a party every day. Now, for me, I've got to be honest, when Gene sings instead of Paul Stanley, I always like it a little bit better. And my favourite, this song I love, it's one of my favourite rock songs of all time, is I Love It Loud. I love that tune. It's because Gene's singing it. He's great, isn't he, with the big long tongue. The best. When I was a kid, he's the bass player, remember? Paul Stanley's the lead singer. But I wanted a poster of Gene Simmons, and I didn't even like Kiss. I think I did have a poster of I had a Kiss poster, and I didn't like him. And I think I had a smaller poster of Gene Simmons looking cool with that axe bass thing that he had. Now, the other thing he said, now this is the contentious one, and again, this has got a swear word in it. So I'm not going to say this swear word, it's the F word. So I'm going to replace it with funked, if that's okay. Okay, so Gene Simmons said, I've funked more women than anyone in rock. Right, now, it's a bold statement, and I'm sure he's in there with the running, but he has no data to back this up whatsoever. There is no sort of credible research he's done into this. And I'm sure there's many other musicians, for example, the members of Led Zeppelin, that must have given him a run for his money. And also, he talks about nothing about quality, does he? I mean, there's one thing, funking many women, but what were these women like? Right? I always got the feeling that Robert Plant and Lemmy funked a lot of women, perhaps, maybe, allegedly. But I always felt that Robert Plant may have had a higher quality going on, and surely that counts for something. Now, Gene Simmons he's not an ugly man, but he's not a handsome man, is he? Robert's a handsome man, So he has got this, what he thinks is, it's not even something you should boast about, really. Why do people boast about this for? Why would they want to boast about this? What does that make him good, the fact that he said that, Gene Simmons? Now, the first quote, there's an irony there. This one, I just think he's trying to get on everybody's nerves and be, irritating and arrogant and that. And there's no call for it. I don't like it. I'm an English gentleman, and I don't like this sort of talk, right? A lot of those ladies have probably, a few years later regretted, getting entangled with Simmons, haven't they? That's people don't think about this. Shouldn't all be made out to be great. Okay, right. Number 3, I've got Noel Gallagher from Oasis. And Noel Gallagher, this is the quote I got for him. Now, he's said loads of arrogant things. He has said, for example, I'm not embarrassed by anything. I'll wear anything. I don't care what people think. That's not that bad, really, is it? That's not arrogant, is it, that quote? But he did say that Oasis were bigger than God. But then that's an ironic comment, because his hero, John Lennon, said that they were bigger than Jesus. So he's had to go one bigger by saying that Oasis were bigger than God, hasn't he? I don't know about this one. Liam Gallagher. I put him high. I mean, I make these lists, and then when I talk through them and I arrive, sometimes I doubt my own choice, as you can see. I'm pretty sure that number one's correct, without a doubt. But at number two, I've got Liam Gallagher. And I put those together. It's almost like a group, two places. I think when you put both of the Gallagher brothers together, they occupy a certain level of arrogance, which is just not warranted. Okay? I like Oasis. They've written some good songs. I like the fact that they've been out on tour and loads of people have been going to see a real band playing. And I like the fact that those two guys have got charisma. When they walked out holding hands, I was a little bit moved that they got themselves sorted out. Right? They have a sort of working class swagger that you must respect, and that's what you need when you come from the bottom of the pile as they did, and you first fight your way to the top, and those people don't get to the top of the music industry. I have all this good to say about Oasis. Now, Liam's quote is this. No, I've got it wrong. Liam's quote was, I'm not embarrassed by anything. I'll wear anything. I don't care what people think. And then he was the one who said that the band was bigger than God. Right? But that's backed up by Noel saying this. Sorry, I got them confused. I got them the wrong way around. Noel Gallagher said this, and this is where it makes sense now. I can see where I was going with this. He said that Radiohead were just a bunch of moaning children. Well, that's totally true, isn't it? He's always mocked other bands, and he said this: Oasis is the most important band of the last 50 years. Get over it. Now, if he said that now in 2025, right, even if he said that now, 50 years ago is 1975. So he's saying all the bands that came out after 1975, right, that he's more important than that. Right? Joy Division, the Cure, the Smiths, U2, Oasis are more important than those bands. That's what he's saying. Metallica, Iron Maiden, all more important. Blondie. I mean, you can just go on and on and on about through loads and loads of bands. You know, and then you got all the rap groups like Tribe Called Quest and Public Enemy and all those groups. There's so many groups that I would say are rivaling, if not more important. But if he said that 10 years ago, we go back to 1965. And now we got bands like Led Zeppelin and Deep Purple and Black Sabbath. And if you like all that thing, the Stooges and New York Dolls and the Ramones, whatever it is. And even I would have to say that a band like Kraftwerk, they're the most influential and important band of the last 50, 60 years. And so when you put those two quotes together, what this tells me, with the idea that he'll wear anything, he doesn't care what people think, I don't care what people think, we're bigger than God, we're the most important band in history. Yeah, fair enough. But why do they say this? And the reason why they say this is because they haven't actually got a clue. Oasis always strike me as not having a clue. They really don't know much about music. They don't know about the history of music, right? They like the bands they like. They don't like anything else that they don't like. They grew up listening to the obvious bloody choices. They listened to Slade. They listened to the Beatles. And they listened to Pink Floyd. And the only album they listened to Pink Floyd was The Wall. Because I know that generation, and they would have gone around their mate's house, got stoned, and put The Wall on. Those are the three bands. That's what they come out of, right? And then they got to a teenage thing. Stone Roses came out. Everybody thought Stone Roses were the greatest bands in sliced bread. And then you get all that shoegazing scene, and they were basically following on from that. That's what they know. They are such an example of a band that doesn't know about music. And so to try and explain to Liam and Noel, right, and there'll be people watching this channel will be the same. When I say that Kraftwerk are the most influential band of the last 60 years, they're actually the most influential band, period. They're more influential than the Beatles. The Beatles would be the second most influential band, but they're not as influential as Kraftwerk. And there'll be people here denying that just because they don't like Kraftwerk. They aren't being objective, standing back and going, no, listen to modern music, it's Kraftwerk. Or pop music. You go, well, that's all rubbish music. Yeah, but we're not talking about whether it's good. We're talking about influence. We're talking about importance, changing the culture, right? Now, Oasis did change the culture, but I think really only in this country and not worldwide. I've got quite serious when I've got to this because I'm trying to explain why I've got these at number 2. Group number 2. Anyway, we'll move on now to the last one on the list. And of course, who have I got at number 1? I've got Ye.
Poop, scoop dee dee whoop, whoop dee dee scoop, whoop dee dee scoop poop. Did I not become the biggest rock star on the planet? Did I not influence all musicians? Did I not go and get the exact girl that I wanted?
It's about whatever I want to make it about. This is my world.
Have you regretted anything that you've tweeted?
Nope.
Let the king see everything that's happening, right? This man tells me I don't know how to make a PDF. You understand what I'm saying? Do you understand what I'm saying? After that moment happens, then I will say, I'm sorry.
Kanye West apparently has compared himself to God, to Steve Jobs, to Walt Disney, and to Leonardo da Vinci. And he did that all in the same sentence. But that's not the quote I've got. This is the quote I've got for Kanye West, which I think puts him on the number 1 spot for arrogance. He said this: I am Warhol. I am the number 1 most impactful artist of our generation. I am Shakespeare in flesh. Now, of course, Kanye West is extremely arrogant, but it seems to also be mixed with a strange sort of mental health issue, doesn't it? Now, I don't know whether he's putting that on or not, right? But he seems to have imploded somewhat into being a producer, then becoming a rapper, and then the idiot critics start to say these are the greatest albums ever made, elevating him to a point where he has got sponsorship deals and made so much money that he has become a billionaire. And then once he is a billionaire, he has then lost lots of money by then coming out and saying more and more outrageous things until he's ended up basically agreeing with the Nazis and letting his wife rock around in the nud. That's that. That is what he has done. Now, I don't think that any of the people on his list that he's better than. So you take someone like Andy Warhol, right? I am Warhol. So he seems to be elevating himself as being, he's an artist, but in the same way as Andy Warhol. Now, Andy Warhol is very important because he does pioneer sort of mass-produced, no talent, churned out. He makes that the art. And in doing that, he opened up the door for many people to say, well, I'm doing a Warhol. And I think Kanye West is like a modern day Warhol. Is he like Leonardo da Vinci? No, he's not a Renaissance man. He can do quite a bit, but not much really. He can produce and rap, and I don't think he's great. His productions are based upon, he became famous because hip-hop had stopped sampling old soul records, and he started to sample old soul records, and he sampled a Shaka Khan record, and that became a huge hit. And it became a huge hit because the hook that Shaka Khan had provided, not because of him. I don't rate him as a producer. As a rapper, I don't think he's that good. So he's not a Renaissance man like Leonardo da Vinci. Is he like Walt Disney? Oh, I don't know. I mean, how can you compare Kanye West to Walt Disney? Well, my mum was a cartoonist that made his own sort of, he not only made cartoons, but he turned that film studios into a cultural way of life that you would buy into. You could actually visit Disneyland. When he invents Kanye Land, you know, she's just full of Nazi memorabilia and his wife walking around in the nud. Sounds like a good place to go, actually. When he does that, then that comparison will stand. Steve Jobs. I mean, Steve Jobs invented the Apple-backed computer, didn't he? He hasn't invented it. I mean, well, where am I going with this? Why am I even bothering to do this? This is not what I'm here for. I'm here to talk about this. I'm here to talk about these records here. I'm here to talk about good music and decent music, but you won't watch these videos, will you? That's why I'm stumbling on my words. That's what it is, right? And I'm arrogant enough to say it. I'll say it to you now, right? I haven't been playing music for 40 years. I haven't lectured in music and music culture and music history and studied it and done all the things I've done for the last 40, 50 years, learned to play every instrument. I haven't done this to come on and talk about whether Kanye West is like Walt Disney. But you won't watch the proper videos, will you? You won't watch them. Right, so the views are sagging. Every time those views start to sag, I have to come in here and do one of these videos. This is your fault, you fair weather fool. Right? You popularist numbskull. You know, oh, that looks quite good. The 10 most arrogant musicians. No, it doesn't. You clicked on this and I'm having to do it. You know, and then you know what I'm doing next after this one? The 10 ugliest musicians. I'm not going to do the 10 ugliest music. I'll do that another day. I've had enough. I'm going to do something that actually means something. I am worth more than this. I'm a musician, a skilled player, right? I can play in 1916 time. I can play all the tuplets up to 12, right? I have played complex stuff that goes beep, boop, but I've been able to learn it even though nobody wants to listen to it. I can play really fast around the drums. I can play fast double bass drums, right? I've got loads of guitars. They're all over there and I can play them up and down the neck and do all that widdly stuff and all that stuff. Whittling, I am a whittle master. I am the whittle master. And I can pull an album out like this, right? It's a proper album that I own that's a good album, like Brand X, right? And I can start with the history of Brand X. So they were formed in 1975. A bunch of different jazz musicians in the United Kingdom that managed to pull Phil Collins in from Genesis to play drums on this, which then elevated this band up to a higher level. They probably reached their peak straight away with their first album, Unorthodox Behavior, that came out in 1975. That was followed up with albums like Moroccan Roll, Masks, and these are all great albums. And the thing that's incredible about Brand X is they managed to play jazz rock, British jazz rock, which is a rarity. A lot of other bands that had emerged, like Backdoor and Isotope, never had the success. Brand X had the success because they had Phil Collins, but Phil didn't play on every single album. So albums like Masks, that had the great Krista Berge on drums, that went on to play in Rainbow for a short while, is one of their best albums. And that's a shame. The Phil Collins brings them in. Michael Clarke also played on some of the latest sessions that then we divided up into the last two albums that came out actually after Brand X had called it a day. Those albums being Products and Do They Hurt? And then they went away. They were formed quite recently, and came back with some other great albums. The thing that's interesting about Brand X is they have never made a bad album. And that's not true of many jazz rock fusion groups. They've reformed recently. They've been back on the road with the great Percy Jones. But with the death of John Goodsall, it seems to have lost its momentum. And I think we'll never see the like of them again. This album here is got a very interesting title because it's called Extracts. Extracts. And you have this guy Extracted. They always had album covers by Hypnosis. So then we got all the extractions on the back of all the albums there. All that, every one of these albums is fantastic. Right? The only one I don't own is that one. Is There Anything About? Right? That title is genius. Extracts. So it's extracts from their album. It's also extra tracks, right? I don't know if there is any extra tracks on here. And it's also X tracks, Brand X tracks, right? So it's got multiple meanings. I like an album title like that. Anyway, that's what I'm here to do. I can do that all day long, Brand X. Now, some of you watching this, the fair weather viewers that have come along to watch this, right, think, what the hell's this bloke about? That's what I'm about. That's what I talk about, bands like Brand X. If you haven't heard Brand X, go and check them out. And I've done my bit of good. So some of you might go, you're a bit tongue-tied today, Andy. But those of you who know me and know what I can do, will say, well, yeah, Andy did do all that, but in the end, he did tell them about Brand X. And maybe some of those people that got upset when I knocked Kiss and said they were a very good American rock band, you know, maybe they will go and listen to Brand X and then become Brand X fans. Ain't gonna happen, is it? If you like this video, drop a like on it. If you want to see some more, subscribe. If you want to support me, you can become a patron, you can become a free member or a paid up member. I have a membership here with content that you can see early or specialist content that is specialist. What else can you do? I don't know, there's all sorts of things. I've got a PayPal tip jar, go and jump into that. I can't even get that out today. I haven't been very good. I do apologise, tried my best. Got a croaky voice, tired, I don't know what it is, you know. Don't know what it is. But it is what it is. And it will get the views. It won't represent me that well. Maybe this sort of slapdash, haphazard way of YouTubing, it might be a real success. People might like it in a way. They might do. Well, we'll have to see, won't we? Let me know what you think in the comments. Thank you all. Bye-bye.